two ninjas spoiling movies.
Yeah,
And Brandon Collins.
that's me.
It's Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn.
Woo!
You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it.
Who's the master?
Well, that's your warning.
Uh.
And if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh.
Bim, 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 bim.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy Eddie Collins.
Guys, this is Justin Brown.
But for this episode, y'all can call me Scoutmaster Eddie because we're taking y'all to camp. And this is Medium Popcorn, spoiling movies. And we are talking about Heavyweights,
Oh God.
1995. Directed by Stephen Brill and written by Judd Apatow and Stephen Brill. So this is early Judd Apatow. Yeah, man. Yeah.
So it's funny because yes, this movie is written by Stephen Brill and Judd Apatow, but for the longest time, I thought that this was a straight Ben Stiller fucking film.
No. This is just this is a Stiller family affair. They had nothing to do with the dude. Man, first of all, the Stiller family might be one of the funniest comedy families ever. Because his parents were fucking like Jerry Stiller. It's so fucking crazy. R.I.P. man. R.I.P. to both of them. But this movie made me think Ben Stiller might be, and for me, I think he's top 5 comedy actors.
Yeah.
Between this, Zoolander, Dodgeball, something about like he's been a fucking hitter, man. Even small little cameos, like he had a Happy Gilmore when he's at the assisted living thing. But Tony Perkins, we'll get to the overall plot. I mean, I feel like a lot of our audience has seen this movie. This came out in 1995. It's a classic Disney movie. I don't know how much of a box office hit it was. We'll go through the box office 17.6 million, which is fine. I mean, I think we didn't get a sequel for a bunch of various reasons. One, because, you can't really, especially in this day, I think this movie, I remember this movie being controversial for a moment. I don't know if it was in the news or anything, but I remember my mom was hesitant to take me to this. My nana was hesitant to take me to it as well. I think they were, because I was a chubby kid and stuff like that. But I think it was just kind of like they saw it as me. You know what I mean? Because it's about these overweight kids going to a fat camp. And, in the 90s, they were, you saw it up front in this movie. They were calling him Fat Boy and Fatso and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
But it's the 90s, baby.
This is the really the weird thing about this film. Because, like, if you really watch, if you're really paying attention, you realize, like, yes, they went to fat camp, but the fat camp was not a traditional fat camp.
No, they didn't like, yeah.
It was basically like, it was really a safe space for bigger kids to go and have fun and not worry about being picked on by assholes.
Yeah. And that's what I loved about it too, because when you actually watch it for what it is, this isn't Camp Nowhere where fucking kids are just able to, it becomes Camp Nowhere at some point, almost like a Lord of the Flies situation. But it really is about a community and supportive, like not forcing everyone to like fucking starve themselves and all this shit.
Yeah.
And
then hold on. And basically Ben Stiller's character, the Tony Little, takes this place over. He buys it because basically Jerry Stiller's him and his wife, they're
Harvey and Alice. Yeah, they go bankrupt.
Yeah, they go bankrupt. It's like never let anybody handle your books or something.
Don't do your taxes. He's like, you give. I wrote down, I'm like, I still remember this as a kid watching that scene. And like my nana and I don't know, for some reason we find the funniest things in people suffering. And when they're like, we got nothing. And the mom's like hitting his, because that's such a real reaction. Like, and they're breaking down in front of the kids. So, the Stillers are so funny in this scene. but it's so dark. It actually is a very dark scene.
Oh, yo, 100%. 100%.
Because these kids are just like, and then can we get another higher, higher, higher? And the kids are like, Ben Stiller comes in with the feathered hair. He's like, hey, I'm Tony Perkins, y'all. And you got the fucking Lars dude doing the voice.
Okay, hold on.
It's so crazy.
But, hold on. Let's just take a step back. So like, yeah, this is a safe space for bigger kids.
Yeah.
Like, have a good summer. And then it basically gets hijacked by, Ben Stiller's character, Tony Little.
Why you keep calling him Tony Little?
Huh?
Where are you getting Little from?
I'm sorry. He's a what's his goddamn name? I'm sorry.
Tony Perkins.
Tony Perkins. No, he's a spoof of Tony Little.
Okay, because you keep calling him Tony Little. I'm like,
sorry, yeah. So he's so he takes over, and then he turns it into the exact thing that this place was meant to be.
Yeah.
And these kids are forced to live to deal with this madness.
He's trying to sell 50,000 units. He said, I need to sell 50,000 pre-sales or my ass is grass.
It almost sounds like he borrowed money from the mob.
Oh, it hurts my side laughing so much. It's so, folks, do yourself a favor if you've never seen Heavyweights. It's on Disney Plus, and to me, it's one of the funniest movies probably in my life. It's so funny. It's so fucking great. I mean, if you haven't seen Heavyweights, then that means you don't know about Tony getting locked up by the kids, which we'll get to, which is when the great electric. Okay, so we open with Jerry, who is it's the end of the school year. He's excited about the summer vacation. He's just going to be chilling, and his parents, his dad, played by Jeffrey Tambor, they basically bring in the sales dude played by Tim Blake Nelson, which I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Showing a VHS advertising Camp Hope, which I was like, yo, that's a wild way to be a salesman. Where you gotta go from house to house just showing a VHS.
Basically, you gotta go, like, how do they also kind of lock in on this on these, fat kids? They'd be like, hey, where's the fat kids in this town?
Yeah, like, how do you know where to sell?
Directory for overweight people? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, when that nigga found out about the internet, he was probably, oh no, like, I'm gonna be home for good, baby.
It's just... Well, it's also just the fact is like, no, when he found out about the internet, I feel like this movie could get really dark in so many ways.
Yeah. I mean, dude, just Jerry. Okay, so Jerry is a pudgy. He's an overweight kid. Yeah. And even before he gets home to watch this crazy infomercial for Camp Hope, which he does come around to because it has go-karts and stuff like that, and he keeps an open mind about it. But like his walk home, he gets called fat boy after he misses the bus. Mm-hmm. And he has to walk home. It's so sad and so funny because a baseball comes over a fence. He can't even throw it back over. These girls are selling lemonade and he drinks the whole thing.
It's like 10 cents for a glass. He gives him $3 and just chugs it. I was like, oh boy. It's funny because like when he, first of all, if you selling lemonade for 10 cents,
yeah, you in trouble. You better hope you have a lot of change.
But then again, how much were lemons in 1995?
I always thought little kids selling lemonade was creepy as fuck. I was like, because first of all, I'm really rolling the dice and hoping that you're making good lemonade. First of all, second, where are your parents? Because a lot of the kids that would sell lemonade in my neighborhood, there weren't no parents around. I was like, you lucky a nigga didn't just grab that jug and run away.
No, well, you lucky a nigga didn't just walk up and grab them kids and run away.
Well, this is in 1982.
That's when it started, bro.
I know, but I said this isn't 1982. You know,
Okay.
like it's
Oh,
we're a little bit ahead in this
I thought you
point.
said this was 1982. I was like, you weren't even born then.
Yeah, that was weird. Okay, I did interpret. Did you interpret this from the sales dude, played by Tim Blake Nelson, that he's kind of dead inside, or is that just my weird interpretation?
I think this is your weird interpretation because like he seemed like is like, hey, I'm gonna sell you this fat camp to your parents. It's like, but kid, you're really gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Because like the way he was looking at him,
Okay.
kind of like, you're gonna love this. They
Okay.
call it the I forgot what that
The blob.
the blob. They
Yeah.
call it the blob. You know, you can get 15 feet with that thing. Like, cool.
Yeah, I wrote down the actor that played Jerry, Aaron Schwartz. He looked both young and old. It was insane.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that kid. I think it was the hair. The hair made him look like fucking Bobby from Bobby Meets World or whatever the fuck that show was called.
Bobby's World.
Bobby's
Bobby
World. Fucking. There's too many shows, man. I watched a lot of shows, bro.
Bobby from Bobby Meets World. Hold on. So
Yeah.
I went so in college, oh my God. Trying to think how it my sophomore year, I lived at like off-campus housing. And so there was a screw up, and we ended up getting this guy that was living with us. And he was very much like he kind of reminds me of Jerry. He kind of reminds me of Jerry. Short,
Okay.
kind of, kind of pudgy, but he looked like he was 40 years old. And we called him Crack Baby. Like that was his nickname. Now, mind you, so he was actually suspended from school because he got caught doing coke.
Okay.
It's a semester, so this is his first time back. So me and my friend Scooter, we were already calling him Crack Baby because we got the 411 on it, but just between us. But Crack Baby ended up being cool as fuck. He's mad cool, mad fucking cool. So like one night, me and Scooter, we were in a room together and we were just sitting there bullshitting. And then Crack Baby, he
Doing
was
crack.
yeah, we were just doing some crack, just passing that rock back and forth. But Crack Baby would come to the door. He was bullshitting with us. But Scooter had this big bowl of peanut M&Ms. And the Crack Baby was standing there, and he would just keep on like taking handfuls of peanut M&Ms, and he'd be eating it while he's talking to us. And then Scooter looked at him and was like, look at you, you just can't help yourself. You're like a crackhead. I said, you're like, you're Crack Baby. Look at so then we started calling him Crack Baby because of the peanut M&Ms. So we got to call his nickname to his face, and to this day we call him Crack Baby, and it's totally fine. He's married now. He has a wife. She's known as Mrs. Crack.
This is why women always cite that women mature faster than men because
Yes,
that's some dumb young nigga shit.
exactly. And he embraced it.
Well,
But
yeah, because he ought to probably the only friends he can make. He's like, well, I gotta do something. I guess I'm Crack Baby Mike.
No, Crack was cool. Crack was cool. We fuck hard with Crack.
Please.
Listen, man. When we moved out, we had an off-campus housing. We brought Crack in, so Crack was living with us.
I see what you're doing, and I don't like it.
Crack was on the team.
I did laugh really hard when Jerry told his dad when he was like, "This is a fat camp." He's like, "You're fatter than I am. Why don't you go to camp?"
Yo, why was the dad looking exactly like Dr. Phil? What was up with that?
Yeah, I thought it was Dr. Phil, and I'm like, "Oh wait, no, it's Jeffrey Tambor."
Yeah, but I mean, it was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah. So then on the airplane to the camp, Jerry meets Kenan Thompson's character, Roy. And of course, Kenan's like the fun black kid. He's like cooning it up and stuff like that. He's like, I'm the man. I'm Roy. And then they get on the bus. You know, they meet I mean, it was wild that their counselor, what's his name? The older dude. Their cabin leader.
Tom McGowan. His name
Tom,
is
yeah.
Pat.
Yeah, he had been there for a long time.
Yeah, 18 years.
Yeah, yeah, which we find out. And then Ben Stiller as the dad, he's like, 18 years, what you been doing with your life? Because I did write that down. Like, how much is he making? How much is he making every year?
Yeah.
How's Pat doing?
Like this is almost like a retreat for him to just get away from life. And like this
Yeah.
is vacation.
You know, he definitely has a sad life outside this camp for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then I'm pretty sure Tim, played by Paul Feig, who is an acclaimed director and writer, created Freaks and Geeks. Pretty sure his character is supposed to be a serial killer. I feel like he's the serial killer that Al Pacino was trying to find in Cruising. Like he's wild. The way that he shakes his butt in front of these kids, I did not like it.
Yeah, that was a little extra.
He was constantly shaking and strutting in front of these children. But these children are nasty as fuck. When they get in that cabinet and start doing that secret food stash thing and taking off all their different, candies hidden around their persons, that one kid had melted chocolate on his belly and everyone started licking it. I was like, yo, bird.
That was gross.
So gross.
Yeah, that was beyond gross. That was beyond gross. It was like, what are you guys doing? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yep. Now I know a lot of people, when Ben Stiller's character is introduced, a lot of people, and I think we even got a Patriot thought or two that said this, like to live in a world where Tony, this is a prequel to Dodgeball. And Tony becomes the villain from Dodgeball.
So actually, I like to think that this is a prequel to Dodgeball, but this character, he was thrown out by his dad. It's like, make a real life. And then, like you need to make it on your own. And then he went and started working at the old folks home in Happy Gilmore.
It's all connected.
And then from there is like, that's where he comes up with the idea, and then for Globo Gym, and then Dodgeball comes up.
That's definitely possible. I mean, it's just so insane. His characters are so fucking crazy. I love when he was like, we're gonna get you all in shape. And then he's going down the aisle with his hands out for high fives. No one high fives him except one kid. And then another screams, I want to go home. And then he starts weighing all the kids. And then remember that one the really tall dude? He's like, congratulations, you're officially the fattest boy in camp. And he starts like, everyone starts cheering him on. And he's like, get down.
Get out of here.
And then taking photos of the kids for the before photos. And then Keenan turns around and puts the sign on his butt. And he's like, and then the flashes happen. He's like, you broke my camera. Because they have Lars, who's their new cabin lead, who's this insane Austrian dude. Tom Hodges definitely, the guy who played Lars definitely doesn't have an Austrian accent, by the way. That had to be an insane American dude doing a wild impression.
Oh, also in this film, we had Sean Weiss, which is basically famously Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks series.
Yes, who apparently was forced to do this movie.
What?
According to UVA's trivia, UV, our producer, Sean Weiss was originally not interested in acting in the film, but he changed his mind when he found out that if he did not act in heavyweights, he would not be allowed to act in D3, the Mighty Ducks. Damn.
I mean, he would have been better off.
I think Disney probably held this over him. Well, D3, yeah, it wasn't great, but like, I mean, that's a franchise. You're like, and I think in the second one, didn't Goldberg get the winning shot? So, oh no, he gets the winning one in D3. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's weird.
On UV in the chat, she's coming with some heavy. Several actors from this movie were in D3. Oh
yeah, you got Kenan you got Kenan Thompson. Kind of wish Ben Stiller was in D3. That would have made it a little bit more.
That would have been nuts.
I mean,
best thing in the world.
If he was their coach after Emilio Estevez stepped away, Tony. I mean, yeah, Tom Hodges, who hasn't done much since heavyweights, who played Lars, that dude was out of his mind in this movie.
Yeah.
He's like, I snore very loud. Do not be alarmed. I'm fine. Those kids started training and shit and getting all fucked up, and the nurse the cute nurse who like ends up getting with Pat.
By
She's
Leah
like,
Lane.
yeah, she's like to one of the boys. She's like, "What's happening out there?" He's like, "We're percocizing." Oh God, I laughed so hard. And then eventually Tony finds out about Jerry's cabin, their secret food stash, and he has this. Ben Stiller has this really weird sentimental moment with Roy, and then he starts frisking him and finds a salami, like a little like Slim Jim in his socks. He's like, "Looks like my man's packing." Like little lines like that are just so fucking ridiculous.
No. He pulled out
It's some kind of candy or something.
no, a pixie stick.
Oh yeah,
A Pez dispenser.
Yeah, but he's just like, "Looks like my man's packing." And then Josh says that Seymour Butts thing.
Yeah.
And
then they kick him out. He's gone.
They hit the freeze frame on Josh. And I wrote down, this freeze spray kills me every time, because then it's like the dude in the cafeteria, who I'm pretty sure is Peter Berg, the director. He's like, "Hey, did you hear about your friend Josh?" Yeah, he did. What? And then a game of telephone starts happening, and it ends with one kid saying, "Now he's living in a park in New York with a man who has no legs."
Like, what?
Yo, this movie was so out of control.
Oh, it was so, but in all the right ways. In all the right ways.
I mean, even the girls, when those girls at that terrible dance, they're having their dialogue. They're talking about like eating disorders and shit like that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
They're like, "Why don't you teach them how to throw up, Jenny?" And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Like, yeah, why don't they just lose weight? So it's just like,
But then fucking Paul Feig's character, Tim, starts dancing because he's like, "If we start dancing as the adults, then the kids will join in, and then we'll be saving the dance."
I mean, which is true. Somebody has to start the dancing. Like that's like adult parties. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
somebody gets out there first, and then people are just like, "Oh, okay, I'll join in." So I gotta break the ice.
Yeah. Plus, I was at my old parties. That was never an issue. People just started dancing.
Oh, I mean, at your old parties?
Yeah, the Halloween parties.
Well, that's because I poured Devil Spring vodka.
Yeah, at one point you poisoned the whole party. It fucking made them start humping each other.
I'm surprised that there were no kids born that night after that whole thing happened.
Well, everyone was too fucked up because Devil Spring is fucking.
Yeah, you weren't getting hard off of that. That shit make you sterile just like that, baby.
Oh man. I laughed really hard when Ben Stiller crashes the dance, and he's like, "You're free to go, ladies. I'm sorry you had to endure this." Like, he just does such weird things with this kid. And they just let him rock. Because I feel like some directors would be like, "This is a little bit too much. Let's pull it back." But no, you had to go full like crazy.
Yeah. Like, it was just so stupid.
when they're like it's like they're getting close to the end of the camp, and he starts weighing the kids, and they're all gaining weight because also there's one kid that hooks them up with food outside, so they start getting McDonald's from outside. Yeah. Oh, and Josh comes back because he basically, his family threatens to sue Tony.
Yeah,
and so they like let him go back and stuff like that. And it's just like they all started gaining weight and shit, and then Ben Stiller's reaction's like, "You gained 9 pounds. Have you been cheating?"
He's like, "No, well, muscle weighs more than fat. Muscle weighs more than fat." Cut the camera. Kids like Jerry.
And he starts talking to himself. "How you feeling, Tony?" "Bad." So fucking crazy. Okay, and scary too.
Was this before Ben Stiller really popped off? I believe this was like the beginning.
This is around the Ben Stiller show. This is like everything's kind of picking up.
Okay, yeah, because like he is so nuts. Like, he is beyond nuts.
But you know what? I actually appreciate it because I think him going this insane in comedy is what makes a Tom Cruise and a Robert Downey Jr. comfortable enough to go that crazy themselves.
True.
Because I actually remember, like, it was the first time Ben Stiller's the reason why I know that Tom Cruise, one, has a good sense of humor, and two, can make fun of himself because he used to do this MTV. He used to host the MTV movie awards, whatever,
Yep.
and he did that segment with Tom Cruise for Mission Impossible 2. That's still one of the funniest sketches I've ever seen, just because one, they actually do look alike, especially back then, and then when because he's Tom Cruise's stunt double, and he's trying to pitch John Woo like a action sequence, and John Woo's like, "Please go away." I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. You just stop midway in the air and you say this mission just got a lot more impossibler.
I'm just sitting here. So I'm looking at Ben Stiller's filmography. He's been a part of fucking like so heavyweights, Happy Gilmore, the Cable Guy. He actually he was a director of that, which I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Obviously, Something About Mary. Let's see, Mystery Men was nuts.
That's a funny movie, man.
Yeah,
that still has one of my favorite lines with Eddie Izzard's like, "Disco is life," because they're the Disco Boys. Oh, so stupid.
Wait, hold on, wait, hold on, wait. Oh no, I didn't know he was in Black and White with Mike Tyson and Robert.
Yeah,
Downey.
remember he's the cop.
Oh,
remember he's the cop that's blackmailing the dude.
Oh god, that movie's so nuts, so nuts. And then obviously 2000, Meet the Parents, Zoolander. Like that's when he went on that run.
Oh, we should do Meet the Parents.
Yeah,
because then we can talk about meeting our in-laws and stuff. That's a fun one. Add it to your list, Lluvia. Por favor. that's
por favor.
I did write down that's a very sad adult boy scene with Jerry and Pat on that dock after Pat gets read by Tony.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is such a because Pat's basically Jerry, but older.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of sad. It's supposed to be sweet, but it's kind of sad.
Well, and it's also like what they did to Pat. They basically made him a fucking janitor.
Yeah. Like, which I was like, does that have Pat's his pay? Because he's already not getting paid well, probably.
Yeah. He's like, he should have just left.
That's probably what they were hoping, because Tony's like, I need to cut these expenses, man. The pre-sales are not happening.
So they made him, they put him on cleanup duty, and it seemed like that was the only thing he was doing. But so like at that point,
it's trying to flirt with the nurse.
Well, yeah. Besides that, I mean, which I get it, because I remember her from like some of these films, in the 90s, early 2000s, and I remember it was just like, yeah,
she had the little doe eye thing going on. She was cute. She was cute.
She looked great in this film.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get why she would like Pat, but she also was kind of a basic woman, so I could get it at the same time. But I was like,
but they dolled her up for this role, though.
Oh, okay.
That's no. Like I think that I think is also considering the the company in this, but I think that like they did a good job of making her being like, oh, the hot girl at the camp.
Yes.
For this role, to the point where also Ben Stiller is kind of just like, hey, and Lars.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, when he pushes the kids in the water, and then she's like, aren't you supposed to be watching the kids? He's like, I have them on the body system. And she's like, what?
The body?
Like, body. But he whistles, body.
He's like, I have a pinch of my sciatic nerve. Do you think you can massage it?
So insane.
Nuts.
So Tony gets furious. Well, okay. So also, mind you, before this, the kids have been also like sneaking around. They like sneak into Tony's cabin. They find that all their letters that they've been sending home, basically saying like SOS, this shit's not popping no more. Come get us. He's just been keeping them in this big chest. And of course, one of the fat kids farts and like they almost get caught and all this stuff. It's a very weird, silly scene. But you also see like Tony's insanity, like he's jogging all intensely and like lifting up logs and shit. He's just fucking out of control. And And so basically, with the kids all, coming overweight from what he's expecting, he said, "We're gonna go on a hike." And then, so he's trying to kill these kids. And at one point, he's like, the hike is happening indefinitely. We're not going back until you're all lean and green. And they're like, he's going to kill us for barely making it up this mountain.
He's like, no one's eating. Like, what?
And then so he basically, they start plotting against him. He's meditating, and one of his lines was, "Repost the monkey, part the wild horse's mane." This guy,
as he's doing Tai Chi,
just like nothing about Tony is good. Like child services will be all over his head. He's gonna get sued so much. I mean, doesn't Tony Perkins see her at the end when he comes in? Does he say, "Oh, I'm gonna take a bath with this one"?
Ben Stiller is nuts.
So,
he's fucking.
I keep tearing up laughing about it because even as a kid, I remember thinking this shit is so funny.
Yeah, because he's out of control.
I mean, yes. So basically, I mean, their plot is kind of weird. So they basically they set it up where Goldberg moons Tony, and then he chases after him, and they trap Tony in a hole at the bottom of the mountain, and then they imprison Tony back at the camp. Was it not Roy? Josh? No, not Josh. Pat. Pat tries to reason with Tony, and then Tony's like, "I'm gonna get you fired, blah blah blah." And so Pat's basically like, "All right, cool, like the coup is happening." And so for the night, they all just lose their fucking minds. They eat all the sugar. They tie up all the old counselors and shit. Lars, they put honey on his chest, which is very homoerotic. The way that
they tell him that bears are gonna be out. Like, there's no bears out here, and then they hear Lars screaming, and there's a deer in front of them.
And then one little kid punches Lars in the dick, which is wild.
Yep.
He said, "Hello, little boy. Have you come to save me?" Oh. I was just like, what did he do to that kid that make him specifically hit him there?
You're right.
Well, what was so crazy is Tony's in this shed that they've wired wired an electric fence to keep him inside. And basically, they Goldberg and Kenan Thompson, they hold up a boombox with a recorded tape that they made of them basically talking shit to Tony. They're like, "Tony, you have a small wiener." Like, it's the craziest shit.
A small, skinny wiener. I was like, Jesus.
And he's like, "Turn it off," and he grabs the fence. And I was like, "This is a crime, right?"
Yeah, that's kidnapping. They like life in prison for kidnapping. I mean, they're kids; they probably wouldn't get life, but dude, that's serious time.
Oh, I just laugh because it's committing so many crimes. They took over the camp.
Yeah,
but then the next morning, Pat riles them up and says, we're gonna face the skinny camp across the river, and we're gonna kick their butt in a triathlon or whatever the fuck it is."
So, all right.
Which is insane.
That's the thing that's weird about this film. It's like a part of me is as fun as the film is. Once Tony or Ben Stiller's character Tony is out of the way, it kind of then goes to like, oh yeah, now we're gonna face off against this camp.
It becomes very formulaic, very Disney-esque.
You kind of just like, we don't care. We just I don't want to see you. I don't care about that camp. It's also like, yeah, you guys have a rivalry with them, but you don't, because they haven't been a part of this film for like the first, course of it.
Yeah, the last time I see them was the baseball game, right?
Yeah. And nobody, and it's like, it's not even a big deal. Like, yeah, they kicked their ass, but even so, like, it was one of the things. It's like, of course, it's like, you guys are also not eating. Like, you're all starved. And so like, it was just like that aspect of it. I was kind of just like, we just need more of the Ben Stiller stuff.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to be able to give us like, like the camp
Yeah, the fun.
sports scenes, like especially with the little go-karts and stuff like that, because they were talking about that at the beginning. Jerry gets to finally ride it and stuff. Even though I was like, what have we seen or have heard makes Jerry the one to be the one to race the go-kart for this race? I'm sure there's better racers.
Well, yeah, but he also he started coming through as like a leader.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay,
He
because I always thought Josh was the leader. It always felt like kind of like Jerry is reacting to a lot of stuff. He's not really, I don't know. He's like yes ending stuff, you know what I mean? But he's not the one actually leading.
True. Yes and no, because like there hit a point where he kind of was like, like the guy. He was like one of the. He was like because one like even when they're on that hump that throughout the woods with Tony, like he's making sure that these kids are good. He's like picking them up off the ground and yada yada yada. So it's just like he's starting to establish himself as somebody that like, oh, like you can go and like he'll take care of you. So I think that was like his terms. It's like, hey, we're gonna come together and we gotta watch out for each other. And then like he's also the dude that ran and got Pat,
Yeah.
after that. So it's just like he's now taking on more of a role as like he's one of them and he's one of the main kids here.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense when you put it like that for sure. Okay.
But like I can see how that could have easily got lost though.
Yeah, I mean it's that works. I mean, I have very few complaints honestly about this movie. Like there's some weird gross stuff, but that's like, the kid juvenile humor. It is a kid's movie at the end of the day, even though it's really fucking wild. I mean, so before they even get to doing the race, they're like, hey, we gotta clean ourselves up, we gotta get ready for parent day and stuff like that. The parents show up. I love that Jeffrey Tambor, when they see Jerry, they're like, he didn't lose any weight. Like immediately. But they're doing programming at the main cabin where they show video because apparently Tony never paid his videographer, so they're able to pay him for the footage, and they basically put together this really intense video of like their life at this camp under Tony. And they even add like a scene where like the kids are eating a fake rat and shit like that because they're so starved.
Yeah.
And just all Tony having breakdowns and all the kids just screaming at them, especially Josh. Josh and Tony did not get along. He's like, how do you like the food, man? I love the. Let me finish. I love the food. Shut up. And then, so basically, while this is happening, Tony gets out the cage because he convinces the London chubby boy that he has a Hershey chocolate. That kid should know better. It could be like, Tony, where did you get that fucking chocolate from?
Yeah, where do you get it from?
Yeah. And if there is any chocolate, it probably ain't chocolate. It's probably boo boo. But then he drops. He's like, oh, Butterfingers. And then he grabs the kid. He's like, looks like London Bridge is falling down.
It's funny because they
improvised that, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because that's a Ben Stiller line.
Yes.
There's certain lines that are just Ben Stiller lines.
Oh my God. And so Tony breaks into the main cabin. And he's at the top of the rafters, just clapping like, it's such a great video. But the villain was a bit over the top. And then he flips onto the ground.
Then he lands, he's like, ow.
I mean, that would hurt. That's pretty fucking high up. And then he starts breaking glasses and ranting about the parents being the main problem because they raised stupid fat kids. And he's stepping on the glass like, ah. And he goes to confront Jerry because Jerry's like, you see, this is what we've been dealing with. And he's just like breaking glasses on his way, walking across glass towards Jerry. It's very violent, actually.
He's a fucking psychopath.
Then Jeffrey Tambor just punches him in the face. He's like, no, you're through here, buddy. But then Tony gets up and does his signature chop, which he also did to Goldberg's butt when he got mooned. He does this chop thing. He chops Jeffrey Tambor and then keeps back flipping until he slips into water and crashes into a wall. You're
Like
right. When he's
I
not in the
wanted
movie,
more.
when he's not in the movie, it immediately peters out.
Yeah, it does, and it's just like because again, nobody cares about the other camp. And like I know they tried to build that, but even when all that was going on, the heat just wasn't there. Like a part of me wanted to see like the way to make that work is somehow fucking Tony Perkis breaks away from his father and he's trying to sabotage the fucking race or something like that. Like that there had to be more Tony. I wish we had more Tony at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great villain.
Yes.
He's a great villain because he was willing to take out some kids if he could.
He's just like, oh my god. No, I guess it is dodgeball where it's like Joni loves Chachi. It's like, Ben Stiller always says some shit. You're just like, what?
But it's always funny. Um, okay, so according to Yuvia's trivia that she found, there was a scene where Tony takes a bow and arrow, can be seen to the upper left corner when he collides into the wall and aims for the kids and Jerry's dad. But Disney cut the scene. This scene is available in the deleted scenes on the Heavyweights Blu-ray version.
That's nuts.
I mean, Tony's a dangerous villain. That's the thing
Yeah,
that I love
yeah.
about it. It's
You
like
try to kill those kids.
he did not give a fuck. I mean, just the way that dealt with a lot of the conflicts with the kids, just screaming at them and like just not giving a fuck about who they actually were and what they wanted out of the camp. And then on top of that, his beef with Josh, which
Yeah.
starts from the very beginning. They have a very antagonistic relationship, and then he's like, "Oh, I didn't know I was messing with a man, Tony." And Tony's like, "Ha ha ha!" Ha. It's like, what did he say about the comedian shit?
He's like, oh, it seems we have a comedian.
Yeah. And then, oh man, it's just so stupid. Like,
Now I'm just thinking about him hit that bow and arrow. I think the way that could have been used effectively, if like, they showed a video, it's like, we haven't eaten, we haven't eaten all this time. And the kid's about to take a bite of like a hamburger or something like that. And then it's shot out of his hand with a bow and arrow. And then you look up and it's him that's just like, I said no eating. Or so wild.
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
it's such a wild scene.
for sure. And then just to have like Tony's dad come to clean everything up, and while Tony's being escorted into like a police car, he's in that blanket looking back at his dad like all pouty and shit. And then that's when he's like, the kids are basically like, we want to stay at the camp for the rest of the summer. And he's like, well, if there's an adult that's willing to take it over, it's easy for me.
It's
and
like,
that's when
who's been here the longest? Who's been here the longest?
doesn't Pat's like 18 years.
It's just like, oh, what have you been doing with your life?
Do you think Pat got a raise?
I mean, he now runs the camp. I hope so.
Me too. I was thinking that. I'm like, I feel like Pat might have just like been like okay with the same rate. He just was glad to have a job and have his camp back.
No, I think that Pat's just glad to be there with them kids.
Okay. So we did get some Patriot thoughts.
I mean, he does have a nice tender moment with just him and Jerry riding with the go-karts.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Docks. Like, I don't know,
I
man.
didn't like it. Yeah, because it's either very much like a Pat is Jerry older,
Yes.
or there's supposed to be some type of bonding relationship with them that it just doesn't really fit. Like I feel like Preston
barely coming after Pat, and he's kind of like,
like I think about a movie like Blank Check, right, where Preston like got cool with his limo driver, but that was a very transactional relationship, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's kind of like, I get it, like you want to support this kid. Level. Yeah, you want to support this kid, but it felt very much like we're learning from each other, which is not how this is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Because Pat is looking real sad.
Yes.
He's looking real pitiful on that deck. He's just like looking at the sunrise. I mean, the sun setting and like the camp across the lake, and just like, I used to get made fun of all the time. Like, it's like, you still are, nigga. Did you not get that roast that just happened in that camp?
It's not over.
I mean, you
Like,
can.
it's like Pat was about to go drown himself in the lake. Like that's the vibes.
Jesus. Did I ever tell you about at this
Oh
old
no,
job I had?
himself in the lake.
No. I had a job where we were all working fully remote, right?
Mm.
And I forgot what had happened. Something really, maybe it was layoffs or like just we were told like some really bad news as a company, right? And our boss was just not taking it well. And mind you, we're all like on Skype and stuff like that. And this dude, he had an office where like there's a big window next to like the camera and like his computer desk, and it's just an open field. It's just beautiful grass and trees in the distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he cut it. He was like, "Hey guys, we're in the middle of a team meeting." He's like, I'm just gonna cut this meeting short. Let's just step away from the computers. Life is too short, and there's a lot of tough things that happen in life. And then he looks longingly out the window, and it was like, I think I'll check it with you guys tomorrow. We'll see. And then he just logged off. We were all like, whoa.
Hey, somebody should call him.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We voted on who would call him. Just to be like, hey, that was kind of ominous. How you doing, buddy? Want to make sure you sign up on that bonus for me. Before you do anything crazy, be sure to log into ADP, push that approve button.
I need them hours.
Thank you so much. But yeah, that's wild. I had never seen before we get to the Patriot thoughts on heavyweights, I had never seen the post-credit scene where Tony's selling crystals.
Oh no, neither did I.
Yeah, it's you gotta watch through like all the camp music and stuff, but it's a scene where Tony's selling crystals and the door gets slammed on his face.
God. I mean, yeah, he would be that guy.
If a nigga going door to door trying to sell crystals, that's not someone you want to do business with. You do not want to give your credit card information or cash to that person.
So obviously, I know everybody. A lot of people are dealing with. People are looking for jobs and things right now, and there's a lot of scams happening.
Yes.
People are trying to scam. I recently got one. Now, acting job, right? Somebody is like, hey, you want you to do this photo shoot, get a yada. And they send me, they're like, oh, can you send us your email address? We'll send you all the information. I'm like, all right, cool. So I send this stuff and I get this email. It's like, hey, so we want you to do this photo shoot. It's like, we're going to pay you $500 up front. And then but like the total payment for this shoot is going to be $5,000. So I'm just like, I'm listening, but it's just like, we're going to send you $500, but then, and a little bit extra because you're going to buy your own clothes. Send us your address so we can send you a check. I'm just like, how many people fall for this?
Yeah, a lot.
Like, how many people fall for this? It's like, and I know they're obviously going after actors who are obviously is just like, maybe if they're a young actor, they don't know the business. But so, and that's why somebody may fall for that kind of stuff. But I always think about like when I see obvious scams, when I also see people like doing a job like, selling healing crystals door to door.
Yeah.
It's just like, at what point do you realize that this is not the way? Like, at what point were you just like, well, I mean, they said they're going to pay me $11.50 an hour. So I need that money.
I know, man, but like people do desperate things. I remember it was after college. I think it was right after I graduated my master's. I was looking for work. I was having a bit of a hard time, and I ended up like going for some energy company where they basically go to people and they're like, oh, did you know you're overpaying with Con Edison? You could do this alternate thing, which is basically just a vendor that pays a cheaper rate to Con Ed. It's just insane. It's like it's like an extra step in your process. And it doesn't really save you much. It's weird. And then the person obviously gets commission on it. And so I was doing a trial run where I walked around watching this dude do this pitch to business owners and random people and stuff like that. And I was just like, none of this feels good. Like, why? How do you feel good doing this? This is weird.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
kind of like exploiting a loophole, but that actually might fuck the customer over at in the end of the day. Because if this vendor or whatever company we're working for doesn't pay Con Ed, then they get fucked.
Yep.
I was just like, I don't like it. And I remember we had lunch. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna pass on this. And he was like, all right, well, goodbye. And then just started going back to selling.
So it's funny. I did one for God, and I actually got the job. It was like setting up employee benefit programs, whatever. So it's like, oh, you work for this company. It's like, and you have like a contract with all of these, local businesses and whatnot that you can use. I'm like, all right, that sounds, okay. But I was signing up businesses for the employee program, but apparently, they've been doing it in certain areas for a while. So I'm cold calling people, and I'm calling these people, and it was like, I tried that last year, and not one person came in. I paid $1,000. I was just like, what? So and the more and more I spoke to people, I'm just like, this is a scam.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is just a pure scam. Like, we're just taking people's money, and I'm just like, and they're small business owners. So it's like, yeah, this guy has a pizza shop, or so and so, such and such. And I'm just like, no one's ever gonna come in from you. And like, I was talking to this one guy, and I could tell it's an older black guy on there. And like, I remember in the like, we have our sales meetings, they'd be like, I know sometimes people is like, oh, let's, mull it over and all that kind of stuff. And how you get past that is by saying this and all that kind of stuff. And I literally said the exact opposite of what I was like, hey, why don't you mull it over? Think about it for a few days. Exactly. But they were listening on your calls at
Oh
times.
yeah.
Yeah, they listen to your calls, and the guy's just like, you literally told the guy to mull it over. I'm like, I just knew that he wasn't going to buy. I knew he wasn't going to do it. So I'm just like, I'm trying to get him off the phone so I could just go on to my next person. He's like, no, I felt like he was in my head. I'm just like, I knew that he was probably going to do it because, I sold him, but I didn't feel right actually selling this guy because I knew that it wasn't like he was just wasting his money, and he was talking about how his business isn't doing well right now, and something like this could probably help him. It's like, it's definitely not going to help you. You are going to go out of business if you give this $1,000+ to us. And so eventually I was just like, I'm just going to sit here and take my hourly pay because I was going to Vegas for something. I was like,
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna ride this out as long as I possibly can for my trip to Vegas, and then after that, I'm gonna quit. Luckily, I got fired the day before I went to Vegas. I was just like, yeah, baby. But it's crazy. It's crazy. But I can't imagine going door selling fucking healing
I
crystals.
was wondering how we got here. I'm like, what are we talking about?
I know, but it's just like the healing crystals things. I was like, that, like, when you are at the bottom of the barrel.
I'm sorry if anyone listens to this and they're like, but I fuck with crystals. I'm like, do you? But don't try to sell me that shit. I remember like this kid named Michael Daniel. He had a brother named Nathaniel Daniel. I
Mhm.
remember this kid. This is a second grader, mind you. I
Okay.
run this camp, and this nigga just wandering the hallway. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? You gotta go back to the classroom. He's like, I just wanted to have some time with my crystals. And I'm thinking, like, is this like a different name? Like, there's no way this kid's just walking around with crystals. And then he opens his hands and just hands full of weird ass crystals. Like, what the fuck? I'm like, where'd you get those, bro? He's like, I brought them from my mom's house. And I'm like, what is going on?
Oh,
Please put the crystals away.
okay. I know we've been going off the reservation. I got this one last one.
So many crystal stores.
So I was dealing with what? No, I worked with this girl, and she was fucking hot. Like she was like Miss Mexico or some shit like that. She was really hot, and like me and like I was in fucking Philadelphia. I was in Philadelphia, and like the Philadelphia, they have this the Reading terminal. So it's like kind of like a flea market and things like that. So like it's image, we're off of work or before work, and like she's like, "Hey, I want to go to Reading Market. You want to go tomorrow morning?" I'm just like, "Yes." So that like, so I'm like, "All right." So I'm like, I kind of got like, an in with this chick, so we get to know each other and whatnot. And then there was this other guy that was there who was also going. I'm like, okay, I didn't know that this is a trifecta. It was like, all right, whatever. So I'm there, and we're going past one of these shops, and this person has all this whole table set up with all these fucking crystals and shit like that. And like, no, it's like a whole fucking stand. Like, you'll walk in, there's crystals everywhere. And I'm just looking around. We're walking around, so I'm looking in them. Just like, I mean, who's into the fucking crystal thing? Like this is such a weird this is such a weird thing. It's like,
People like crystals, man.
yeah. And then she goes, I like crystals. And I was like,
Yep.
well, I guess I'm not getting like
Yep. I could have told you that one. I knew that was coming. You pulled the little Brandon, put your foot in your mouth. I know that. I know that move very well.
I said, well, I guess this is over. I kind of looked at the other guy. I was like, well, buddy, you won.
Yep.
You won.
All right, folks. We did get some Patriot thoughts on Heavyweights, which is the movie we are talking about. We're not just talking about crystals. Remember, if you sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/medium popcorn, you're guaranteed to have your thoughts and reviews of that movie that we feature on the Patreon right on that episode. So Curtis Boyd wrote Kenan Thompson's second movie role. This movie is one of the greatest summer films of all time. Lots of wild hijinks and a pretty decent coming of age story for many kids who were outcast due to their weight. I agree with that. I was a little chubby boy. Ben Stiller's also it as the fitness nut Tony. I definitely have watched this movie at least once each summer since it was released. Me too, actually. Classic juvenile joke moment from the film. See more butts. Who see more butts? Huh? No one's seen more butts than you, Uncle Tony. Sid Tobias wrote classic movie. Happy y'all finally doing this one. And then Derek Harris, classic movie. In my head canon, this is prequel to Dodgeball. Laughing emojis.
Yeah.
So, Justin, break down our rating system, baby. And folks, if you have your own crystal story, leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/medium popcorn. The link is in the show notes. But again, speakpipe.com/medium popcorn. Yes. Justin, break down our rating system.
Guys, tell us if healing crystals have ever cost you any butt. So, guys, we sat down. Oh, first of all, Brandon, stop calling me baby. I see what you did there. You immediately jumped into the crystal thing. You thinking I wasn't gonna hear the fact you called me baby again. So, guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies, bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film does not deserve any warm, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So, Brandon, we sat down and watched the 1995 comedy film Heavyweights, starring fucking Ben Stiller, Jerry Stiller, Kenan Thompson, and a bunch of other great young actors that were in this film that really just kept this shit together. What say you, sir?
Let's get to large. Okay. Let's get to large. This is a 90s classic to me. It's incredibly funny still, but you're right. Like it was going to get an XL, but you're right. It does falter a lot when Ben Stiller's not a foil.
Yeah.
He's not the antagonist. The movie is just, it's fine. But with him there, like against these kids, it's fucking comedy gold, man.
Yeah, Billy.
He gets one of the most unhinged performances in all of cinematic history. Tony Perkins is fucking crazy. And then Lars is just as his like hype man. I can feel it, Tony. Just so crazy. Yeah. And then just a line. It's real quick. And kids don't get it. As an adult, though, you realize there's some shady business shit going on. When he says, you don't understand. If I don't sell 50,000 pre-sales, my ass is crap. And you think about how much VHS is worth, especially like programs like this shit, how much they were. That was like $80. So he's paying like almost $1 million.
Or it's like $39.99. Either way, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money he needs to make pre-sale.
Oh, so stupid.
Justin, what's your rating?
Ah, man. Like I'm kind of torn on this because the things I said earlier. I'm going to give it a medium because that third act of the film, it really does fall off hard. but the first the first the first part of the film is so good. The first two acts are so good and it's so ridiculous. But the third act is it's almost to the point where like we could have just ended this film earlier. Because once Tony's not there, it's kind of just like, okay, what's happening right now? And it's like really the comedy is kind of over, and then it's kind of just like a straight Disney film, which is not. It was okay, but like it killed the momentum, and the momentum it killed the momentum hard because right after Tony thing is we just go into the race, and then it's just like where are we at after that?
Yeah.
It's hard to say because like this film it should at least be a large, but those final scenes you're kind of just like guys,
Yeah,
like that
because
wasn't it.
it just gets into business tropes of things, and given like the adult characters, especially like the ones that were hired by Tony, they seem so passive and like grungy. To see the one dude who's the videographer who's like been in the M Sandler movies and he's smoking a cigarette around the kids and not really giving a fuck, for him to participate in like that race as like one of the
Yeah,
judges, I was just like, that isn't
yeah.
like, now we're just getting into corny, like everyone's gee golly happy like time. I'm like, no, if anything, this should have been like, dude, if they wanted to go real, like stay in the line of like the crazy Ben Stiller stakes, those campers should have been like the kids from fucking Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown. They should have been on some wild, like, we're gonna kill these kids shit, like to win this race. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That would have made it real, anyways.
yeah, no, yeah. No, they had this. The stakes had to been higher.
Yep. Real quick before we give our plugs, so Lluvia, one of the last points of trivia she found, originally the Seymour Butts joke was supposed to be a Peter Fitz joke. Josh was going to tell Tony that the Chipmunk Bunk snack core belongs to Peter Fitz. Then Tony asks, "Who's Peter Fitz?" Josh answers with, "Anyone's Peter Fitz if you push hard enough." The joke was changed to Seymour Butts to be more family friendly. All right. So, folks, you can follow me at Frodo underscore
I've never
Blackens.
heard that one. That's
Me
wow.
neither. You can follow me at Frodo underscore Blackens on Instagram and Threads. And Justin, how can people follow you? You can follow the show also on Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms. Be sure to leave us a voicemail again at speakpipe.com/media popcorn if you have a crystal story you'd like to share with us. The link is in the show notes in case you need it. You have a hard time understanding my words. Justin, how can people follow you, baby?
Stop calling me baby Brandon. But you guys can follow me at J Brown Did It on all social media platforms. And guys, patreon.com/medium popcorn. You know where it's at. $2, $5, $10, $15 packages. It's all right there. If you're not on it already, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
Yeah.
Just say yes.
Get it together. And if money is tight, leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. We will read it on the show. But patreon.com is really where the help comes because Justin got a new baby. I got a new shirt. We need help, y'all. Come on. Come on. All right. And we hope you all enjoying these summer camp movies because we got a few more in the can for you, whether it's on the regular rotation or on Patreon. So get patreon.com/media popcorn.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Come on.
Take that.
Bad boy. Oh, shit. We can't say that no more.
Sure, we can.
Okay. Why are we whispering? Did you used to whisper in the cabin? I used to whisper in the cabin.
No, I didn't whisper in the damn cabin. What the hell is in the cabin?